That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic. Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with Karen B. and Just Jack, episode 21.
Wait. You gotta put more emphasis on this. This is the 11th month.
Oh,
right?
The
This
11th
is
month.
The 11th month, the 13th day, the 21st year, and this is episode 21 and chapter 33. So, anybody who's trying to shill call us, they got to get all the information.
That's right.
Oh, excuse me for coughing. I should have muted that first. I'm so sorry. It snuck up on me quickly.
All
right. So, there's a discussion in the chat on the calendar and the Sabbath. Just to clarify my position, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just where I'm at right now. This is my belief skepticism, and that I believe that the Sabbath has been preserved, that it is actually the seventh day. 6 days you do your work, and the seventh day is the Sabbath rest to Yehovah. That has been preserved, and many cultures still call the seventh-day Sabbath or a variation of it. And it was changed by the name to Saturn's Day, Saturday, simply as a hijacking because they couldn't get people to stop observing the seventh-day Sabbath. I'm just saying, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you want to talk about? We say no. To the show calling. Right there, you can make anybody say anything if you take them out of context.
Right.
You can catch a hand gesture. You can compare it to other people. It's just like the thing with, I always do the flatter sign, saying it's still flat.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do the flat
people
sign.
say people say it's the Masonic symbol. But if you look at any context of that Masonic symbol, it's not done with just the arm out. They have to do this whole thing with an eye covered, pant leg up, it's
Isn't
a whole.
It like this too?
Yeah,
it's
this
like...
is that's also. We're not about the Masons. We reject the Masons. We reject the Illuminati. We reject anybody who tries to control men. Period. And that's a problem that I've been having. People spiraling in comments and stuff, talking about, I'm trying to lead people into religion and stuff like that. Look, don't believe anything I say. What I'm doing is I'm showing you that there's a way to read the scriptures for yourself. I'm not even saying to take my word for it. I'm saying that here's all the instruments that you can use. If you look at just the English, you're definitely going to miss what the scripture says. You have to at least go back to the original language, which is Hebrew. And then just on the surface level, just looking at the Strong's Concordance, which is a Christian dude who made a dictionary, he's got a perspective of his own, so he's got a bias. So then the next step would be to go to a Brown Driver Briggs, and then beyond that, the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible. So you can choose to read multiple versions of the Bible, looking side by side, seeing what is the same in them, what is different about them, why they change certain words, like taking the Creator's name out of the scriptures 6,828 times and replaced it with the Lord. All these things, when you start realizing that they're hiding stuff in English, it's going to take one step for you to look and see, okay, these English words came from a Hebrew word, which has the actual definition with it. So if you don't want to look at it, then go somewhere else. Really, truly. I'm not looking for attention. I'm not looking for recognition, even though I've been getting it. Like a lot of people at Flattoberfest recognized me and they said, thank you for doing what you're doing. I didn't want to look at the scripture before because of religious people, and you present it in a way that is good for me. And I appreciate that. I'm thankful that I get to be used to share this information, but it took me a long time to get here. It's not like all of a sudden I woke up and I had this epiphany and I know how to interpret scripture and everything else like that. It took a long time for me to constantly try to debunk my current belief system. So I'm not so locked in right now. Mm-hmm. When people tell me, well, you're teaching people wrong by teaching them the calendar, the Torah calendar. And I'm like, look, they can go somewhere else and do their own thing. I'm going to stick to my conviction and always seek truth. So I've tried to debunk myself. I've looked at the other calendars. I've tried to validate them. But what I can validate for myself, this is Jack speaking, The only thing that I can validate that has been preserved throughout the generations, throughout all the cultures, is the Torah. So that's my plumb line. That's my foundation. If I can't back it up with Torah, I put it on the back burner. It's not that I throw it away. It's just it does not take importance over what I see the Torah to say. So.
All right.
No, new moon is the renewed moon. It goes completely dark. That means there's no moon. And after no moon, new moon. And, that's another thing. Like, I know people who start with the conjunction moon, which is the new moon based by NASA. They call the no moon a new moon. But it says that you're to observe the new moon. How do you observe a non-moon? I'm just saying, though. Sorry.
Yeah.
And now for the disclaimer.
Yeah, there you go. Right on.
All right. To the religious, if you believe that it's wrong to study scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then this stream is not, I repeat, not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then this stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language, using concordances or dictionaries for root words as well as context, from a non-religion perspective, as well as life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology, doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scripture.
There you go.
All right. I see someone in chat say it again. I don't. Okay.
Say what again?
I don't know.
Well, I hope.
Jessica, what is say it again? And I know there's a 20-second lag, so.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in episode 21, chapter 33, in the 11th month, 13th day, 21st year. So, fun times. Let's go.
All right. Okay, and you can see my screen, right?
Yes. Did you want to look at last week's?
Yeah, I like
32?
to do a little recap of the week before just to catch everybody up. So, what did happen last week? I've had a lot of personal stuff going on, so my mind is a little scattered. I gotta bring it back.
Okay, so what happened was Jacob finally left his father-in-law, and he was coming back home, and then he heard that Esau was on his way with a bunch of dudes, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's gonna come and make war with me.
With like 400 men or something like that,
exactly.
Right? Okay.
And so he's like, well, let me send like a bunch of gifts to him, and then he sent them in their order, right? Like, so a group of goats, a group of camels, da-da-da-da-da. And then he sent his family ahead, and he's like, just get him ready for me to show up.
Right.
Tell him we're here to honor him as the Lord of this land. You know, very humble about the whole situation, even though, like, Yaakov is set up, and he's got a lot of stuff. So he's approaching Esau, and we don't know what's going to happen next. So today we're going to find out.
We don't know if Esau's pissed off for him taking his birthright or not yet.
Oh, and he wrestled with a man.
Right.
And said that he saw the face of El.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears in the full description that he lost his tendon that attached his leg to his pelvic bone.
Right, so now he walks with a limp.
Correct.
All right. So, chapter 33, woohoo! Okay, and Yaakov lifted his eyes and looked at Esau coming, and with him 400 men, and he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the 2 female servants. And he put the female servants and their children in front, and Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph last.
Right. So he's making sure that his most valued possessions were the most protected.
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So Rachel was his favorite wife, even though she was the attractive one. Leah was the better wife.
Right.
But, you know, because he loved Rachel so much and she only gave him the one child, he's like, stay at the back to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Yeah, again, this is not handmaids so much as it's the ones who are joined. Like they're servants who became part of the family. They're integrated into the family.
Right. Because Yaakov had children with them.
Yep,
He put babies in them.
that's right.
And he himself passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother.
And what is 7?
7 is an oath.
Is an oath. That's right.
So he himself...
It only took us 33 chapters to learn this. And by the way, this is the 3rd verse of 33. Just saying.
Right.
And there's a 7 in there. I'm just messing around, folks. There's obviously everybody knows what's been going on this last week with the whole show calling thing. So
Right. So it's fun to poke fun of it because it's ridiculous.
yes,
All right. So okay. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Oh, so he was happy to see his brother.
totally.
Right?
So you're thinking like he's possibly going to kill his brother, right? Because the last time he saw him, he tricked his father into thinking that he was Esau and got his blessing as well as his birthright.
Right.
And Esau's had enough time that look, it's been a while. You know, it's been at least 8 years, right? Some would say that it's 16 years, but it's been a long time. And you know, he went out there with 400 men, I think, just in case. But, you know, when he was like, oh, it's all good, okay, then he's going to run to him and hang on his neck and kiss him.
That's cool. And he lifted his eyes and saw the women and children and said, who are these with you? And he said, the children with whom Elohim has favored your servant.
And that is a good translation, favored your servant. In King James Version, it's like graciously gave. So,
let's see. Yeah, and those children which God hath graciously given thy servant.
yeah, but it's closer to favor. It's the continuance of beauty. So, like if you find something favorable, it's beautiful, and it's the same root word as the camp. Like if you've been on a journey and then you see your camp, you know that's a beautiful thing to see.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Then the female servants came near, and their children, and bowed themselves.
And that's a joined maiden, yep.
And Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed themselves. And Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed themselves.
So now they're all showing that they're joining together with Esau, and they're humbling themselves. And again, it's Yaakov's most favorite, or least favorite to most favorite in that order.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then Esau said, what do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, to find favor in the eyes of my master.
Right. So he's like, why are you sending me all these gifts and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is sending the beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look, I'm trying to establish you as the Lord of this land.
Mm-hmm. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours. And Yaakov said, no, please. If I have now found favor in your eyes, then receive my present from my hand, because I have seen your face like seeing the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me.
Right. You've had desire for me. And this is another thing. Like I have to deal with this, and I'm sure a lot of other men have to deal with this. We have this thing called pride, to where if somebody wants to help you out, they want to bless you with something, you may be like, no, I'm good. You know, I can handle it. And the thing is like, you have to recognize that if you don't take what they're offering you, you're actually blocking their blessing. So I always reject it. And then they will typically insist on it, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to block your blessing. I'll take what you're offering me, you know. Because men, you know, we have pride.
Yeah.
But sometimes Yah is blessing you through other men. It happens.
Right. And he says, please take my blessing that is brought to you because Elohim has favored me and because I have all I need. And he urged him, and he took it.
Yep. So he's shown me favor, and now it's the blessing, right? You have to take this blessing, you know.
And he said, let us depart and go, and let me go before you. But he said to him, my master knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and herds which are nursing are with me. And if the men should drive them hard one day, all the flocks shall die.
Right. So he's been traveling a long time already. So he's like, if I try to like push them on in one day, and it's by knocking down or knocking out in one day, then, you know, they might pass out.
Right. Please let my master go before his servant, and let me lead on slowly according to the pace of the livestock that go before me, and according to the pace of the children, until I come to my master in Seir.
Now, why is it the pace of the children? Well, anybody who has children knows that sometimes you have to walk slower because they have short legs.
Right. And they can't walk as long. They get tired
right.
faster.
Exactly. So he's saying, look, go on ahead. I'll meet you there. You know, you don't have to hang out with me, and I'll be behind you. And it's going to take us a little while because we got, you know, all this livestock and children to go on through the land.
And Esau said, please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, why this? Let me find favor in the eyes of my master. I don't get it. Please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, why this? Let me find favor in the eyes of my master.
Yeah, and it's kind of tricky here. I see this as possibly being interpreted two-way. I think that it's possible that Esau made this whole claim. In other words, why would you reject me, like, hanging with you, and then he's calling him Lord? That Esau may be calling Yaakov Lord.
Okay.
Now, it can also be understood that Yaakov interrupted, but it doesn't say, and Yaakov said, it just says, and he said, like it was a continuation. That's, you know, that's my perspective on it, but it could be that Jacob's interrupting and he's like, no, don't leave your people with me, you know, just have favor with me. But I think it's Esau, like, he's humbling himself before Yaakov and said, look, why is it that you're just going to send us away? You know, I might as well leave some dudes with you basically to have your back, you know, as you're traveling.
All right. And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir.
Yeah, and so in Hebrew, he was Seiring, or Seir word, right? He was heading towards Seir, and the city Seir means shaggy, but that's okay. Shaggy or hairy.
Okay.
That's the city of Shaggy.
And Yaakov set out to Sukkot and built himself a house and made booths for his livestock. That is why the name of the place is called Sukkot. Okay,
this is good for me. There's a moed, a appointed time of Yah, called Sukkot in the fall, where you build temporary dwellings. And Sukkot means thickets, plural. So thicket is like intermingled sticks. So it's a temporary dwelling made of intermingled sticks. And this is another one of those things that we were talking about before, where you get the name of the city before you get how the city was named. And here you have it all in one verse. He traveled to Sukkot. He built a house there for his cattle and made Sukkot. After that, the name of the place is called Sukkot. Right? Now, if you look at it in the KJV, or actually, what does it say there? Booths for the Scriptures version, and Booth's for KJV as well. So if you read Booth's, you're not going to get the parallel unless you look up what the word for Booth's is, because Booth's is that word thickets or Sukkot. And Sukkot is like one of my favorite Moedim. It's like a week-long party, like where you're commanded you must party for a week. Yeah, good stuff. But another thing, just for people's investigation to look into it, this Hebrew word for suk, which is thicket, it's translated in the New Testament as the word inn, as in Mary went to have her baby and there was no room in the inn. It actually could be there was no room in her sukkah, which was a temporary dwelling, which is the possibility that Yeshua was born in the Feast of Sukkot and definitely not Christmas. All right?
Right.
All right.
Okay.
And by the way, on the eSword, there is a dictionary that will help you do that. It's the Hebrew-Greek Interlinear dictionary. So if you look up, like if you click on the word suk, then you can look at all the all the Greek words that came from the word suk, and then you can find that Greek word for in the New Testament. So that's how you do it.
All right. And Yaakov came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and he pitched his tent before the city. Beautiful.
I mean, the way you read that, beautiful. Shechem, that's a tough one, so good on you.
Thank you. And he bought the portion of the field where he had pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 kesitah. What is that?
Kesitah. So kesitah means the true weight, and it's also just like of the true weight is money. So it's, everything back then was weight of silver or weight of gold or whatever.
Right.
And by the way, if you read, they're going to the city of Shechem in the previous verse, but it wasn't called Shechem yet because this is talking about Shechem's father. So later on, the city's named after Hamor's son, Shechem. All right? But Hamor literally means the donkey.
Hamor literally means the donkey?
Yep.
Huh.
So like this dude who was like in charge of the land, I guess, he was named Donkey. So it's possible he was a very stubborn dude to work with, but there's no intricacy story behind Hamor.
Oh,
but it does mean donkey.
Oh, okay. Maybe he raised donkeys.
Maybe his father was a donkey farmer, and he's like, he's my donkey.
There you go.
My donkey. Anyway, this is a very short chapter, by the way.
Yeah,
so people, you can start asking questions in the chat, and then just put, Jack or question in the chat so that we can read it as a question. And because this is a really short chapter.
Yeah.
But.
And he set up a slaughter place there and called it El Elohi Israel.
Yep.
Elohi Israel.
Elohe.
El Elohe Israel.
Yeah. El Elohe Yisrael. Yep. And that definition is there, so if you want to look at it.
Yeah, so it just means like strong leader.
Yep.
Of the strong
leaders of Israel. Yep.
Okay.
All right. I reckon I'll look at chat for a minute, but yeah, I knew it was going to be a short one, and I will be able to start translating more. I mean, Karen knows my personal life. I have, life goes on with me as well. So we've been dealing with a few things, and they should be resolved by next week, Yah willing. and I'll be able to translate a little more. So if it's a short chapter like this one, I would have typically thrown in another chapter, or at least a half a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a really rough week for all of us, it seems.
Yeah.
Just a struggle week.
Yeah, it happens.
We had such a good event at Flattoberfest that, like, when we came back from the event, the world's like, okay, we got to knock you down a peg. You're too happy. You're too excited.
Yeah.
And the world's like, nah, let's knock you down a peg. So
I know. Yeah.
The infighting and the other stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So Doc Michael is quoting from the different calendar, because in the Torah there is no names for the months. They are literally month 1, month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They didn't receive names, and if you look at their names, they're not even Hebrew, they're actually Babylonian, and that's why the 4th month is called Tammuz, who the Babylonians worshipped. But they didn't have month names until they came out of Babylon, and they kept a hold of it. So, just scrolling through chat here.
I see someone saying he's been anti anyone who went to Rockfin. I don't know why you're like that, but listen, all my streams are still running for free on Twitch and Facebook. So yeah, I did go to Rockfin. I do have a channel on Rockfin where I post premium content, but all these live streams that we do are still for free on Twitch, Facebook, and this one streams on YouTube, but only because the content is YouTube friendly. YouTube censors us so bad, and they hand out strikes like candy. It's like, I can't post anything that I would really want to do on YouTube. It's not my choice to leave YouTube. YouTube made it suck for us.
Totally.
So Twitch is still
there.
Yeah,
and that's why I watch, even though I allude to things on this stream, we try to keep it mostly on scripture, because they don't seem to spiral too much about it until you use that knowledge to say, well, scripture says basically that the controlling mechanisms that are in place should not be there, and therefore we should do ... Now, everybody who understands what it says, maybe they should have that awareness. But I think most of us already do. Most of us see that some things in control should not be in control, and there's a proper response to that. So,
right. And it's not like there aren't a few different places to get the content that's free. Like I said, twitch.tv/Karen_B_FE. All my streams stream on Twitch for free. You have 2 weeks to watch it. It doesn't save everything, but 2 weeks to watch a stream. I mean, I don't think anybody watches live streams past 2 weeks most of the time anyway, except for stuff like this. But this show's archived on YouTube.
Right.
So I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the multiple formats thing is a good way to share it out there with everybody. And as far as the Rockfin thing goes, it's just like anything else. If you don't like the idea of it, don't go. But we're going to start losing content because, I mean, everybody's channel is getting struck. If you mention anything that's happening in the news, your channel gets struck. Right. If you read a medical journal, exactly word for word what the medical journal says, you will get struck. If you read stuff off the
CDC website, you'll get a strike for going against community guidelines. So
exactly.
It's like, you never know. They're still going back. I got an old video removed from my channel that was almost 2 years old, that was set to private, and they removed it and said, we understand you may not have understood that this goes against our guidelines, so this time we're not giving you a strike. But they're still going down and retroactively removing content that is set to private. Literally, nobody can even click on it or see it, and they're deleting it still. So
Isabella Live 2.0, I totally get, I hate religion as well, and it has been changed for what women's roles is. If you watch, I think it's the second episode where we got into that, where the role of the woman is not to be subservient, but to be the teller, the one who looks at the situation and informs her husband of stuff that her husband may not see because they're more intuitive on certain aspects. So yeah, if you want to, get my perspective on that, watch episode 2, I believe it is. But if anybody watches this video and you haven't watched episode 1, it is the most important video out of the series for you to watch to get a complete understanding of the different perspective of just going along with what religion has told you for generations rather than reading the scripture for what it says. Mm-hmm. It changes everything. It's very empowering. It shows you your purpose, your function in this reality, that you're supposed to be a co-creator of this realm, and to have dominion does not mean to kill things, but to actually work with those things in existence and to multiply those things in existence. So, yeah, check it out. Episode 1, super important.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Any other questions in chat?
I'm not seeing any.
No.
I mean, I'm just watching,
I'll check
their...
Check
What's
Rockfin. And Stupid says YouTube's not free anyways. You still have to pay for internet, right? And you gotta have to get subjected to all their crappy ads.
Yeah, and if you like people on YouTube and they give you this easy way to support them, which is super chats, they take a third of it. They just chunk it right off the top. So if you send $100, they're only getting 60 of it. So.
Oh, I got a person in Rockfin that's a hater. We got a hater.
Go somewhere else.
This person
Why
says
do people
Elohim,
spend their time going after people they hate? I don't understand
this
it.
person says Elohim and Yeshua are deities the pedo pope created. That's so retarded. And the slaves worship these sick idols.
I would say that was appropriate if he used the terms that they used. Oops. I lost my video. There you go. If you use the terms they use, like God and Jesus, yes, those are actual invented deities of the Roman Catholic Church. God and Jesus are new entities created by them.
But Elohim and Yehovah.
Elohim is a vague term.
Yeah,
it's a
Elohim
title.
just means strong leaders.
Strong leaders, yep. Yep, so in our case, we're speaking of the creator, but
Yehovah.
The Catholic Church does not live according to the Bible. Neither do the Jews.
Right.
Hate to tell you, look it up yourself. Look at the dogma or the way that they practice things. The Jews live according to Talmud, and the Catholics live according to dogma.
Yeah, both of them tell you not to read the Bible. Neither one of them encourage actually reading the Bible.
That's correct.
For what it is.
Doc Michael says, can we skip ahead to the end of the Bible study to see how it comes out? Definitely not. That's not what we're doing here. And as far as like the end of the Bible goes, I find it problematic because you can interpret it many different ways. And for the fact of the matter, regardless of what happens in the end, I don't care. All I care about is that I'm in line with the Creator as much as possible to connect with Him so that I can work in my functionality, whether that means to be a co-creator, to be a healer, to be an insighter, someone who can see beyond, those are the things that are important to me. What the end result is, I don't really care. I don't. Because if the end result is me connecting to the Creator, that's all that matters. I don't care what happens to those who don't connect with Him, because they're not going to be, as far as I'm concerned, they're not going to be a part of my reality in the end. It's just like everything that's going on in the world today. If you sit there and you look at how bad things are and what's the next step and what's going to, how do we handle, the best way to handle it is keep living your life the way that you're supposed to. Don't worry about what other people are doing.
That's right.
If you keep living your life the way you're supposed to and you're connected with the Creator, there's a verse that says, if Yah is for me, who can be against me? No one. Because I live in this realm, but I'm not of this realm. Know what I mean?
That's right.
All right. Elohim, elevated ones, sure. Those above, sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so the only problem I have with what you say there is God. Because God, if you look it up in Hebrew, God literally means the prosperity deity of Babylon, the money deity. And that's why on our money it says, in God we trust. So that term, they changed Elohim, meaning the elevated ones or higher ones or strong leaders or whatever. They have been usurped with money deity. Those titles. So.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. We can wrap it up. There's no actual questions, so.
Oh, so there's one in Twitch I want to read for you before we go.
Okay.
It says, I read this quote. Eden, the real Eden, was in fact the temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. Adam and Eve weren't mythic characters. Rather, they were historical figures. Adam was Zedekiah, last king of Judah, and Eve was his queen. The tale of the Garden of Eden was about the fall of humanity. It was about a very specific fall, that of the Jewish king of Zedekiah, who lost his entire kingdom and people. What's your take on it? Jack's rubbing his head.
Gosh.
He's rubbing his forehead.
If that's what you believe, I can't change your belief.
He says it's just a quote, that he just read the quote.
I understand. There is going to be all sorts of different spin-offs of their interpretation of Scripture based on their preconceived ideas that they want to fit within the Scripture. I know that there's people that want to take the Scriptures and try to fit it into nothing but constellations. In other words, there's no real stories. It's all about the stars. I know that there's other people who like to flip the script, who are called the Luciferians. So they take everything as, like, if you want to be subservient under the Creator, then yes, you live this way. But if you want to be a creator yourself, you invert everything. So it's so you can do whatever you want with the Scriptures, but as far as historical context, there isn't a established claim of this, the last king of Israel. And I mean, just to hear like of the Jews makes me spiral, because even the term Jews didn't even exist until they went into Babylon. It was started as a derogatory statement, the Jews, and then accepted as their identity. There was another group of people who were called a derogatory name, and then they chose that for their identity, by the way, in modern times. So it's not like it's a new thing. Mm-hmm. But the way that I look at it is, if I had picked up the Scriptures for myself, like, let's say I just understood Hebrew, okay? I was born that way. And I picked up the Scriptures and I started reading it. There's no way I could read these other stories into it. There just isn't. The only context that I give of the Torah is I let it identify itself. So, take it or leave it.
There you go.
Yes, word Elohim is both singular and plural, because Elohim is plural, but it is a collective as one still exists. So.
All right. Cool.
All right.
All right, I guess
I
that's
just gave thumbs
today.
up. I don't know if that's a symbol, but if
thumbs up,
if somebody screen captures it,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Shill.
Are you gonna hold up that pyramid for somebody to get a shill shot?
Oh yes. Don't your pyramid?
There you go. Anyway, we love you all. We thank you for taking the time to hang with us, and I'm thanking you all for having an open mind. A lot of this stuff will send people spiraling, whether they're religious or not. Mm-hmm. And I get them from both sides. The people who are non-religious, like ever, they're like, oh, you shouldn't get people to read the Bible because it's a control mechanism. No, because if you actually lived according to the Scriptures, nobody that's in control would be in control. Nobody. I'm just saying, though. The second thing is those who are religious and they're like, oh, you're leading people into blah, 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 blah. Well, if that's the way that you believe it, like the Old Testament is done away with and all there is the New Testament, then even read the words of Yeshua that you call Jesus, and he'll tell you that he's completely against religion, completely against doing away with his Father's words. So if he's your actual Messiah, then you need to take to heart what Yeshua said. Because he said, I don't do anything on my own will. I only do the will of the Father. And he's the same yesterday, today, and forever, according to Scripture. So, and I know Christians who quote that. So, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Is that...
Love y'all.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of episode 21. Thanks, everybody, for
still
being
flat.
here. It is still flat. I'm gonna make shirts that says "Shillin' for Flat Earth." I think that's gonna be my next T-shirt design. I'm gonna make
Isabella says I trust the
Flat
beard.
Earth shill. Huh?
Isabella says I trust the beard. Beard in Hebrew also means elder, so think about that. All right.
Well, makes sense. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Cheers. Shabbat shalom. Enjoy
Shabbat
the rest of your day. All right.